What's going on, good people of YouTube? Welcome to the Mancave Arcade. I'm Steve V. Appreciate you guys clicking the video and coming down to the Man Cave and hanging out with me for a little while. It's always greatly appreciated. Now, in today's video, we're going to discuss a few different things. First being Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Now, this is a game that I've been pretty hyped for ever since they first started showing some snippets of the game, and over the months, we've been getting more and more trailers kind of showing more characters that are going to be part of the game. But the one thing I was always waiting for was a release date. Well, we finally got the release date, so we're going to discuss that. And I can't wait to get my hands on this game. Then we're going to talk about Basic Fun. Now, I've been watching Basic Fun from afar, but I've watched enough reviews that I kind of have an opinion on the product. So we're going to discuss that, and I'll kind of touch on what I think of WWE Wrestlefest and the Centipede cabinet and some of their countercades. I know they don't call them countercades, but they're countercades. We'll kind of touch on just my feeling on the product and where I kind of hope they go next. And then the last thing we'll touch on is the TMNT Atgames Pinball Table that showed up at Sam's Club. So we got some fun things to talk about today. So we're going to get started right now. Let's go. Now, welcome back to the channel. Really appreciate you guys being here with me today, and we're going to get right into the conversation, and we're going to start with Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Now, like I had mentioned to you guys, I am really excited for this game, and anytime I've saw any videos on YouTube about this game, saw some of the trailers introducing new characters, they already had me sold. I knew I wanted this game, but I was just waiting for a release date, and every time they put out a new trailer, when it was done, there was no release date. So I was kind of getting a little frustrated, kind of thinking, what is the holdup with this game? But this week, they dropped their final trailer where they introduced the last two characters in the game, which happened to be Iron Man and Phoenix, aka Jean Grey. And right at the end of the trailer, they had a release date, December 1st. Now, once I saw that, I pretty much instantly went online, hoping that pre-orders were already available. That's how much I want this game. But obviously, there was no pre-orders. I mean, they just put out this trailer. But that's how pumped I was to at least know that I was going to be getting a copy of this game day one. Now, the cool thing about this game, and it's the same thing they did with the Turtles, you get this nostalgic vibe, even though it's a brand new game. They're really kind of hitting on that 90s beat 'em up genre and look, which I'm really becoming a huge fan of. Now, when I was a kid, I loved playing the beat 'em ups. I mean, I had a blast playing the Turtles and Simpsons and the X-Men and some of the other beat 'em ups that ended up making it to consoles. But then I started getting into more complex games that were a little bit longer, getting into more sports games. And then somewhere along the line, pretty much when I became a father, and I guess had a very limited time to kind of sit down and play video games, I started kind of getting reintroduced to the beat 'em up genre and really, really enjoying it. And now with this company really kind of, paying tribute to these franchises that were around in the 90s. The sprites look like they did in the 90s, and that's what really tugs on the nostalgia heartstrings. But I just am very excited to get this game, and again, only having such limited time to kind of sit down and play video games, a game like this is perfect because, I can clock in 15 to 30 minutes and really get a good amount of joy from playing this game. And also, with it being a beat 'em up and kind of having that 90s cartoon style, I can also play it around my kids. And my 4-year-old son, he's really taken a liking to video games, specifically these beat 'em up styles. So, we played the Turtles together, we played the Power Rangers together. So this is going to be the next one on the docket for me and him to kind of play together. And I can't express how excited I am to really do that with him and kind of build these memories that I know he'll remember for the rest of his life, and I will remember for the rest of my life. So really happy to finally have a release date, and it's going to be a day one buy like I had mentioned. I'm just waiting for the pre-orders to come up so that way I can put in my order. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is Basic Fun, who came out with the Classic Arcade line, which is pretty much really just kind of continuing on with what Arcade 1-Up has already established. They've come out with the Ultra cabinets, which is their version of Deluxe. There's going to be the Supreme cabinets, which is their version of XLs. And then there's also Countercades. I forget what they call them, but it's pretty much just, you know, a bar top version of an arcade cabinet. And there's been a few that have been for sale and really shipped quickly to a lot of people's homes. And one of the first ones that I started seeing kind of, you know, make their appearance on YouTube as far as reviews are concerned was the WWE Wrestlefest. Now, I had a little bit of excitement for this cabinet initially until I started hearing more news about it. And then when I finally watched a review on the cabinet, I gotta say I was pretty disappointed. Having WWE Wrestlefest and WWE Superstars on the cabinet miss some key wrestlers in the game, which I felt like Basic Fun was not very open with that info until reviews start coming out. And now I believe they actually have that info in the ad when you see it on like an Amazon or Walmart or whatever. At first they weren't very open with that, and they kind of gave us the false idea that some of these superstars that were going to be missing they were going to replace, which they didn't do. That was a big deal breaker for me. Then on top of that, not having a faux coin door when you're paying the price that they're asking, which is $5.99 American. Here in Canada, obviously it's going to be a little bit more. And then you got some of these small mistakes they made that were very, very rookie mistakes, like not putting a plexiglass on the control deck. So everyone that's invested this $5.99 price tag, you're going to end up with a control deck that's going to pretty much have the paint come off and it's going to look terrible. That was like year one learning experience for Arcade 1-Up. So I don't know how Basic Fun made this mistake when it was already an established thing that a control deck either needs the plexi overlay or you need the special paint that doesn't rub off with, you know, the oils from your skin and stuff like that. So I was quite disappointed. Initially with seeing how WWE WrestleFest came out. And then, you know, seeing some reviews on the countercades, you know, the Centipede countercade, seeing that it didn't save the high scores, the screen, it just didn't look very crisp, you know, compared to seeing it next to an Arcade 1-Up countercade. There's just these little small mistakes again that they made. And I did watch a review on the Centipede one, but that one, I'm not really remembering too much info on that cabinet. But by that point, I think I already had a bad taste in my mouth with this first initial line from Basic Fun. So with that being said, I know they're going to come out with the Return of the Jedi cabinet. So I'm hoping that that one comes out a little bit better, but I know it's still part of the initial first wave from Basic Fun. So I know when that cabinet comes out, it's still going to have some mistakes and just some things that they maybe should have, you know, picked up on from, again, you know, learning from Arcade 1-Up's mistakes. But this cabinet's probably already on its way to, you know, the ports. And it's just one of those things where it's going to be what it's going to be. Now it's the second wave of cabinets that will really be the difference maker, in my opinion, if I were to ever fork out cash on their products. That's really where I'm going to pay the most attention, because if they don't improve their cabinets, I don't think I would ever buy a Basic Fun cabinet. I need to see the improvements. And I'm not just talking about adding Wi-Fi, because I know that's something that they also didn't do with their cabinets. That is actually like the lowest on the list for me. It's more just having your games run smoothly, because Another thing that I heard about the WWE Wrestlefest cabinet is there was some small glitches, and specifically in their countercade version, you can't even run. When you press the buttons, it won't allow you to do any running attacks, and you can't have that. You can't have that. You have to be able to play the game properly. And if your cabinet does not play the game properly, and then you've already made all these changes, I mean, that's unacceptable, in my opinion, especially for the price that they're asking. Because I understand, with the tariffs and everything, they have to charge more, but it's still ridiculous, in my opinion, when you're not really given a product that is pretty much flawless. You know what I mean? Like they've made too many rookie mistakes to really show that they put the effort into asking the price that they're asking. And again, this is all based on my opinion. There might be some people out there that have the cabinets and they like them. And if that's the case, it's your money. So if you're satisfied, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm just coming from the perspective of just kind of looking through the window right now. I don't own it. I'm just kind of watching these reviews and kind of getting their takes and then kind of making my own opinions from what they're kind of presenting to me. So pretty much that's where I stand with Basic Fun right now. I feel like their products are a little bit flawed, but the next line of cabinets that they come out with, that's going to be the true difference maker. And if this would be a company that I watch and maybe buy a product from in the future. So we'll see what happens with that. So the last thing we're going to touch on is the TMNT Atgames Pinball Table that showed up at Sam's Club. Now, I'm a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. Anytime you pay tribute to the Turtles by using the old turtle image from, the cartoon from the late 80s, early 90s, you're going to kind of have my attention. And that's what they ended up doing with this table. It's a very good looking table. I think they did a great job, really making this table look aesthetically pleasing. I love, the 90s Turtles with, that purple brick, having Shredder there at the front. Now, I don't own any Atgames Arcade products, so I don't really have a lot to say as far as like, the specs and I do know they were saying the screen on the back glass is a little bit smaller, but again, I have nothing to compare that to because I've never actually owned an Atgames pinball table, though my brother did, and I have had a chance to play his table, but it definitely seems like a very solid product. So with that being said, he had the initial Atgames pinball table, so I know this one is obviously going to be even better than that. I really like it. The only thing that I guess is not the greatest is the price tag, though I understand where they're coming from. I know with tariffs and everything, prices have gone up, and for that reason, they're asking $1,200 for this table. Now, is it worth $1,200? I don't know. Again, not owning an Atgames pinball table, I have nothing to compare it to, but I know that the old model was a little bit cheaper, and this is not the 4K model. This is the basic model. So with that being said, you're not getting all the bells and whistles that you would with the 4K. And I don't know what the 4K cost. Obviously, I believe it would have cost a little bit more than this. So I guess this is kind of a discounted price from that. But I mean, it is still like a luxury product, right? Anytime you're spending anything over, in my opinion, like $600, that's more like a luxury item. It's something that you're not just gonna like walk into a store and be like, I want that, and then buy it and leave with it right away, unless you're someone that obviously is quite well off and you're able to do that. But most people, I think when it comes to anything over like that $500, $600 mark, it's something you have to think of, and this is obviously an item where that would be the case. This might be a great table for somebody to pick up. Me personally, I don't know if it's ever coming to Canada, but I think even if it did come to Canada, I don't think it would ever get to a price where I would feel comfortable spending money on, but it looks great. It probably plays great. I just need to kind of see more from, you know, what this table offers. Hopefully I might get a chance to actually see this thing in person if it does ever come to Canada, but I think the chances are kind of slim, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate it. I hope everyone's doing well. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. If you are subscribed, thank you so much for you know, supporting the channel. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Take care. I'll see you guys on the next one.